Hello, welcome to Chapter 5, Section 3, Solving Quadratic Equations by Graphing and Factoring. We're doing the guided practice problems at in the assignment where it says problems 12, 13, and 14. For these problems, we're going to be working with our two, actually there's three of them, but our two, I'm hesitating saying formula, but the rules that we have for difference of two squares and perfect square trinomials. All right, so these are equations. I don't see an f of x or a g of x. These are equations. They're quadratic equations. When I'm trying to find zeros of a function, I set the function equal to 0. When I try to solve a quadratic equation, I set the equation equal to 0. So basically it's the same thing, and that's why I keep talking about the fact that there's a lot of overlap between those two ideas, right? So I need to move that -9 over to the other side. I get x squared subtract 6x plus 9 equals 0. Awesome. Now, what two numbers multiply to give 9 but add to give -6? That's one way of doing it. Or you can recognize 9 is a perfect square. This follows the pattern of a perfect square trinomial. So this is x subtract 3 times x subtract 3 equals 0. Or I could have said x subtract 3 squared equals 0. Watch what happens. X subtract 3 equals 0. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get x equals 3. I'm going to duplicate that same thing if I solve this part. Or I just do it once over here. What this means is that I get x equals 3 twice. Remember, you always get two roots, in this case, or zeros. You always get two. Sometimes you get the same thing twice. We call that a multiplicity. And later when we learn about the fundamental theorem of algebra, yeah, that's a thing. We have to identify if we have multiplicities. So a lot of what, I don't know if you guys notice this, but a lot of what I do, I'm trying to set you up for more advanced math. So you may think about like, what's the easiest way to get from here to there? That's not what I'm doing. This is me giving you the skills so that you can go on and be more successful in some of your other classes. So I'm actually getting you ready here for some pre-calc. Let's do a couple other problems here. Move that up. All right, so I'm going to subtract 20x from both sides, but I'm going to put it in the middle so it's in standard form. I get 5x squared subtract 20x plus 20 equals 0. Okay, now I start to do this. I really want to draw my diamond, multiply 5 times 20, put a -20, but then I start thinking, wait. 5, -20, 20, these all have a common factor. The common factor is 5. So if I divide everything by 5, and by the way, dividing everything by 5, that means that I'm using the multiplication property of equality. So I'm multiplying the left side by 1 over 5, which means I'm dividing by 5. And the right side, I'm multiplying by 1 over 5. And then I'm using distribution. So the shortcut to all that is everything gets divided by 5. And I get x to the second power subtract 4x plus 4 equals 0. This is a little bit easier to do than if I tried to go off with the other one. Now, if I use a diamond method for this, would have been fine. However, and I would have got the same answers. However, this is just going to be easier to factor. As a matter of fact, now that I've done this, I recognize that this is a perfect square trinomial. This is x subtract 2 times x subtract 2, which is the same as x subtract 2 squared equals 0. Do a little bit of algebra 1, excuse me, and I get x equals 2, but I get it twice. I get it here, and I get it here. So again, I have a multiplicity. Number 14, I'm going to move that 49 over by adding negative 49 to both sides. I recognize that I have x to the second power, and I have 7 to the second power. 49 is a perfect square. So this becomes x plus 7 times x subtract 7. And x plus 7 equals 0. So x equals negative 7. X subtract 7 equals 0. X equals positive 7. All right, good luck with that. We'll see you in the next video.